Yes, we are. We're continuing.
Okay. So, what are we talking about this time?
What are we talking about? A lot of people are saying that this is a harbinger of Mashiach. Isn't that right, Mr. Rand? Both wines are fine.
Which do you prefer?
Let's kill off that one, the Sheila.
The problem is everything is a harbinger of Mashiach.
Everything is a what? Oh, harbinger
Everything
of
is a
Mashiach.
harbinger of Mashiach.
Well, people are especially saying because now it's Purim Katan and it's Putin and this and whatever.
I'm tired of these fucking harbingers. All right, and it's time for enough harbingers. We've had our fill.
Yeah, I agree.
Bolivar's News,
What's happening? Oh, our neighbors are. Oh, we need a wine.
Frank,
wine
so
opener.
we will need your.
It's being recorded, by the way.
Oh, beautiful. We have our. Speaking of Mashiach ben Yosef, I'll get back to that. We have our second session tomorrow of essentially breaking the curse. I would call it breaking the spell of Satan. So we've been successful our first event as we practiced last time. Tomorrow we will have, my guess is between 20 to 30 people, potentially more honestly, but I think 25 would be a good number. Probably 60 to 70% Russians with a Russian rabbi, and we have a big duty tomorrow, a big task to continue the shaliach, the godly work to get people out of their spell.
Yeah, man. Who's a rabbi?
Rabbi Mendel Zaltzman.
This is being recorded, but this is going to be on podcast.
Excellent. Rabbi Mendel Zaltzman bar mitzvah'd me.
Nice. Greg, I think Ben understands it, or maybe he doesn't. He's probably thinking two
This
people are
is
going to
be
see it.
heard by
Don't worry.
a few people. What you're saying right now, just letting you know.
Excellent. I mean, listen, I don't think we're saying anything bad. I mean,
No.
we're only trying to help. So we'll do a quick l'chaim to all the people about to listen to us, and
Okay.
we hope that you guys continue to hear God's voice.
Ben, you're our second official guest on the Greg and Frank podcast.
Yeah.
Wow, it's tasty.
It's good wine.
Yeah, we just had some wine. Good stuff. I'm honored, gentlemen. I'm honored.
Good to have you. So, so what are we gonna do? We're gonna prepare for this meeting, and for the folks at home, they'll get a glimpse into our process.
Yeah, folks at home, just so you know, so what we're trying to do here is we're trying to. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people who are kind of already a captive audience who are at I don't want to say PhD level, but master's level, whatever. But some people will kind of be. A lot of it is just like talking to people who are captive audiences basically letting them know a few things. One is that they're not alone, obviously, because we have a thing where like these guys, World Shmikonomic Shmorim, very organized, very, this whole kind of colluding group of people around the world. Yeah. But we're not going to be talking about, Ben just said, we're not going to be talking about the shmeens.
Because at this point,
with these people.
Yeah.
We're trying to take a perspective of like, how does the Torah view all of this? And we're trying to bring the thing of like, let's get back to the basics. Again, like, it's almost like we're trying to talk to those very rabbis that I said, to remind them, hello, you have to listen to emet.
Yes.
Like, if you're a firm person, right, and you believe in the shmeksin, and take this, and that, and the other, but I'm bringing you emet, and you can clearly see that the people who for a fact, you are like anti-emet, are trying to tell you that what I'm bringing you is shmish information, then either I'm bringing you a met, or I'm lying, right? And if you're a Torah person, you know that I'm bringing you a met, right? You don't believe the government. You don't believe somebody telling you that I'm bringing shmish information, that I'm mistaken, or that I'm whatever it is. unless you just don't want, close your ears and you don't want to hear it. Like some rabbi that I met, he just didn't want to hear it. He asked me, "Come to my house for Shabbos. How come you didn't take da da da?" I'm trying to explain to him like things that actually happened. Things that our CEO said, things, statistics. He didn't want to hear. He didn't want to hear what I had to say. He literally did not want to hear what I had to say. I don't know if it was a, patronization thing. Maybe like because I'm one of his students, or one of the students that goes to his cult. Whatever it is, it's very like looking down upon.
You know what? Did you ever see that movie? It was an HBO movie. It was like years ago. I forgot the name of it, but it was like when the top Nazis got together at some like.
You're talking about the Wannsee conference?
Yeah, it's when they were deciding the final solution.
Yes, I saw that.
Right?
Yeah.
And Eichmann was played by Stanley Tucci.
Yes, I saw that.
So he was telling a story about how he was tasked to learn everything about the Jews, language, their history.
Yeah.
He read the Torah. He even got a rabbi to tutor him.
Yeah.
And he was describing it.
It's crazy.
And then at the end, he even for this. He wanted to. He said that he wanted to save the rabbi. He was going to offer him a way to get out, so he wouldn't have so he wouldn't get killed with everybody else.
Yeah.
And the rabbi said, "No, my fate is with my people." I don't know. I'm not saying that that's the same situation with these rabbis. I don't want to even give them that much credit.
Yeah.
But it just kind of that keeps popping into my head. I wonder if some of them perhaps have that view, It's like wherever, whatever happens to everybody happens to me.
Yeah.
Could be subconscious. I don't know.
Yeah.
So far, nice and light conversation we're having.
No, I'll advance it. Ready?
Yeah.
Because Tzvi and I have to prepare for tomorrow. The difference between the group that was first time and tomorrow is first time they were maybe more. It was more diverse. Like you had some religious community from the current shul that we go to. You had some Israelis who are, I would say, a little more secular. They believe in God, except they just they play their own game. Tomorrow, I think it's going to be a little bit more of a religious group, maybe with some sprinkles of secular, but more people who are a little more religious and practical and Russian. So these people have like Soviet Union in their blood. A lot of them escaped. Their parents escaped Soviet Union. Most of them are first generation or came into the country from Russia. So last time the schedule was like talk about the halacha. And kind of brought into the idea that it's, like what is Torah, and then dove into like 10 Commandments, and then of course to the Shema to kind of like reiterate to try to create like a baseline, a common denominator, saying like for this conversation for the mixed / secular kind of average, I would say very conservative person here at best. Torah is going to be our truth for the baseline, and God is truth, and Torah is truth. So it was more like very 100, bringing the Shema and then do the Adam and Eve play. And then from there we went into Erev Rav, kind of teaching how the spell is. So the question for tomorrow, where you have maybe a little more of a practical crowd that already has the belief system of God, says Shema on them, how do you kind of hit home more on maybe avoid the baby stuff, saying, "Oh, Shema is the most dedicated prayer there is." How do we what's the theme to a more sophisticated group that also knows there's a problem, but you're again trying to bring it all into one vision and like move forward and hey, there's a problem. We see it, you see it, you've seen it in Soviet Union, and now how do we connect to the Torah a little more? I'm pushing it that way.
From the Soviet angle, I think Greg could have way more to offer.
Yeah, I mean, I formulated kind of this whole, language. I actually wrote it on my thing. I mean, I could read it to you. This is basically what I'm going to give over here. What I'm going to give over in maybe a little bit different way tomorrow, B'ezrat Hashem. I mean, it's you read this. I wrote this before. See, it says the term misinformation is an age-old Soviet-style label and dismiss tactic used to squash any and all discussion about a particular topic. It's used by those who are running a PSYOP, 2, not capable of rationally discussing a specific issue brought up by someone. It could even be like a person like your friend that you've been talking to. You know, they can't. They'll just say misinformation. You know, I have friends do that to me, either because it's too much to handle or because they know the topic will shine a light on certain elephants in the room. Mind you, this can be done in any totalitarian dystopian society. It doesn't have to be like communism, you know, because some guy like on Twitter was like, "Oh, this means we have communism." I'm like, "It's got nothing to do with communism." You know, you could do this. See, I wrote it. You can do it in a capitalistic society, which is even more susceptible because we think we're so free. You know, and where private and public entities can collude via dominating airwaves. You know, dominating the media. They can say, "Okay, this is a reputable source." And anything that doesn't fall into that category or pass through their filter or church is automatically a source of misinformation. Like I had a friend today show me, because I called, you know, that Dr. Z-Dog guy. I always called him a government mouthpiece, and so Z-Dog released a video how he's like, "Oh, it's time to stop the mandates." Oh wow, really? He's so like early to the party. And I'm like, dude, this guy is controlled. Do you know what controlled opposition is? I'm like, I was saying the same things this guy was saying about six months ago or a year ago. But if I say it, I get canceled out of YouTube. What's the difference between me and him? What? He's a doctor and I'm not. Okay, so what? He has guests on that he's allowed to have and whatever. People, you know, YouTube decided that he's palatable, that he's just safe enough, you know, whatever he says.
Well, you know, I was... someone listening to what you just said, some people would be like, yeah, that's right. He's a doctor and you're not. But, I mean, it sounds like they have a point, right?
Yeah.
However, my brother is also a doctor, is he not?
Yeah, yeah.
Dr. Malone.
Yeah, but he's a quack. You know, he's a quack. Your brother's a quack, you know, according to people who are supposedly not. Even though they are.
Dr. McCullough, who is the most published... I think I was going to say the most published cardiologist. Yeah. He might be the most published anything.
You know, this guy told me, he's like, yeah, the Z-Dog mentions those guys. I'm like, you know that the only reason he mentions them is because they fought to be mentioned. It's because they fought to get out into the spotlight. They brought it themselves by hook or by crook, kicking and screaming against the will of governments and media into the spotlight. If they didn't fight, this guy wouldn't mention them. Well, nobody would know about them.
Well, listen, I think the context here to the people tomorrow, because you have an older group, I like what you're saying here is, because even though they know something is wrong, and maybe we could say, oh, this is like the Soviet Union, but they still don't fully kind of like have the courage to actually do anything about it. They just kind of are like going along with it as well. So the idea is tomorrow to convince them that we're living in a dystopian society and we have to have these kind of conversations to climb out of it, right? Because so I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
But telling people from Soviet background that we're living in a dystopian society is not going to move them.
Yeah.
No, I agree. It's
no.
Go ahead.
No. So basically, I'll just say, you know, because they know, they're like, yes, I know we in Russia, dystopian society lives you.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
So basically, you know, it has to be something different, actually. You know, like you don't want to go down the Soviet angle because.
Really?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I'm not saying you got to avoid it entirely, but you got to do something different, something that'll hit them in a way that they don't expect. Yes. I wish I can immediately tell you what that is, but I don't know. You got to hit them with something really.
Well, I'll tell you like this. What I could do is I can say how this is similar to Soviet, and then I can say how this is a contrast, not contrast, but how this is basically like here we're doing something, or here, like for example, the government did something to citizens here in America that actually was not done to Soviets. Soviets were never like dumbed down. The people were never dumbed down. If anything, they had a higher education and a very, very refined education level.
No, I can't fully agree with that. They had certainly a better math.
No, they had a brainwashing of sorts, but they never actually dumbed down society to the point of idiocracy. Here we just have idiocracy because they know that they can't, like, I mean, they can't really. How should I put this? Like half the people don't even realize that they have rights to lose. You know what I mean? Or they don't realize that like there's a government that's coming to take away their rights. They still think that they have rights. Half the people do. You know? I even friends tell me, it's like, dude, this is not like Soviet Union. We can go here, we can go there, we can do this. Yeah, but like your rights are eroding. You just don't notice it. It's all incremental. You know? Here's
what I recommend. Based on what you just said.
Yeah.
There were stories. You guys have to prepare. Let's say a list of like 20 recent examples. It really might have to be that many of people's rights being terribly violated, children being taken away from their parents because they weren't vaccinated. You know, things on that level. Okay, you have to show them what's actually going on, and show them that it's not being reported. And that it's surprising to everybody whom it happens to.
Yeah.
I think that might be at least one way to get them into, you know, because with Russians with anybody, but Russians you got to shock them.
Yeah.
You got to give them a good zets, as they say. That might be one way to do it. Okay.
No, yeah. I like the idea of because the way I've mentally structured this is that I wanted to do like level 1 stuff, which was what we did last time, because it was the secular crowd trying to convince them to like reconnect to God as well, and then just hit home on like baby stuff. Not baby stuff, but say, oh, the Shema is very important.
Simple things.
Or that we have to go back to the Ten Commandments and stuff like that, natural law. And then I slowly went into Erev Rav and slowly how kind of we've been misinformed and this is how it happened. And then I was like, well, the media has an empire of $500 billion that they control every single news channel of ours. And also I got censored. And I showed them an example of getting censored. Here, they pretty much kind of know all this stuff from the past. They probably don't care that much. But I like the examples part. You're pretty much getting ready to show them like, okay, this is happening. And this happened in the Soviet Union and in the beginning of the Holocaust, or just like separation, segregation, dividing the entire community to one people supporting one medical idea versus the other. So I guess you just have to almost portray like this happened here and this is happening now kind of concept. And I guess that's the only way to shock them, because these are like big grizzly bears coming who like vodka.
Okay. I think, you know what? I think something just hit me. Now, the only problem is this is going to sound like some kind of like, I'm not going to say self-promotion, but, it just, this happens to be about my brother.
Okay.
So hear me out, okay? If I'm biased or whatever, let me know. But I think that this might be the key for you.
Sure.
So here's the story, which I'm going to tell the events as they occurred, starting from March of 2020. Okay, obviously not for the past 2 years, but you'll see where I'm going with this for a moment. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So in March of 2020, Shmovid hits America.
Yeah.
Okay. The first major outbreak occurs in a community in upstate New York. Okay, where you have 35,000 Hasidic Jews living in 1 square mile. You with me?
Where was this? I'm sorry, I missed that part.
I didn't say the name of the place.
Gotcha. Okay.
Upstate New York.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so around the area of Monroe and Muncie. Okay.
Yeah.
So they have a doctor. This community has a doctor. Okay, a very, very good doctor. Everybody had a very high opinion. Still has actually a very high opinion of him. He knew most of the families. He treated everybody. He was working there as their doctor for almost 20 years. Okay, and when the community, and so we're talking about my brother, Dr. Shmev Shmolenko. Okay, I think you guys know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
Of course, we're listening. Yeah, we're with you.
Stupid, shitty fucking YouTube. May they rot in hell. Okay, they wanna obscure. They wanna put obstacles between the people and the truth. So I had to say that. Mm-hmm. Okay, so he had to. So there's the first major outbreak. Now the guidelines that are issued to doctors at this time, you know, from the trusted institutions, the priesthoods, they say that what you do is, if somebody comes in and says that they have Shmovid symptoms, you tell them to go home and take Tylenol, and if they get bad, they should go to the hospital where they'll get put on a respirator, and then 45% of them will be dead. Okay, that's what was going on. Okay, so.
By the way, now the Shmi is telling people early treatment. Early treatment.
Who? Shmini? Who's Shmini?
The Shmi DC
Oh, the Shmi. Okay,
are telling people early treatment.
Yeah.
They're excited about it. After 2 years, it's amazing, right?
Well, now they have something to sell, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so basically, Ben, you'll see where I'm going with this in a moment. Okay.
I'm listening.
So you have this. So my brother, Dr. Shmolenko, okay, he had to figure out what to do because, you know, he's like family with this community. You know, there's a lot of people, but still, like, you know, he's the primary doctor there. Okay, so he has to figure out. So the guidelines that were issued, you know, from the institutions like the Shmi, were not good enough because people were dying. That's not something that he was comfortable with. So he, I'm sure he davened and asked Hashem for help for the answer. Okay, and so he decided to research. Well, what did they do in the places where the first wave of Shmovid went through, like in China and Korea and in France? So I can't remember. So each place tried a different approach. I can't remember which one is which, but let's say in Korea they tried azithromycin, right, antibiotic. In China they tried the zinc, right, and in France they did HCQ. Okay, so what he did was, since there was no advice being given, no issues, no guidelines that are helpful were being issued, so he just took these 3 very common medications, right? One of them is just a simple supplement, okay? Very safe, all of them extremely old with years and years and years of long-term data, okay? And he just started, and he put them together and he gave it to the high-risk individuals, right? People who are really in danger. And they started recovering. Okay, so, you know, after 250 patients, Baruch Hashem, the pattern continued. So he realized that after 250 patients, it wasn't a fluke. Okay, so we began. He asked me to help him to start collecting the data, getting in touch with everyone, you know, getting their details, making sure, you know, it was insane. I can't tell you. It was like sleepless weeks, okay, of this kind of stuff. It was madness how difficult it was to get this data, okay? And it wasn't just me doing it. It was, you know, he was also, and even, you know, and then other people had to get involved too, thank God, okay? because we really had to make sure that this was real, and we did. Okay, it's unbelievable. But anyway, my point is like this: we gathered this data, and then he felt confident enough to show this very important information to the president. So he made a video addressing the president. I'm not sure how it actually got to the president. It was the next day. He got a phone call from the White House chief of staff, and they started having daily dialogue for a number of months after that. Okay, I don't think he spoke to the president, but he definitely spoke to the chief of staff. I think probably daily, a couple of times a week for sure. Okay, so okay, and it works. So what is the result? We don't need to go any further than this. You're going to see now how this applies to you. So you have a brilliant doctor of a religious Jewish community. Okay, the Satmar. Okay, the community is Kiryas Yom. Okay, in Monroe County. Okay, 35,000 Satmar Hasidim living in 1 square mile. Okay, so you have a religious Jewish doctor, a Hasidic doctor with a beard, who, by the way, is not only a brilliant doctor, but he's extremely learned in Torah, especially in Hasidut and Kabbalah. Okay, he's very learned, and people come to him to learn Torah, not just for medical advice, but for actual Torah guidance. Okay, so that was a common thing. Okay, so he's a very, very highly regarded, respected member. A Russian, Jewish, bearded, Jewy-looking, brilliant, genius doctor and Torah scholar, who was by God placed in a situation where he's the first doctor to treat the first major outbreak in the United States, and he finds a solution. Of course, God gave, this is all orchestrated by God, obviously. Okay? So what happens? Okay? You would think that the religious Jewish community would be like, okay, hold on a second. We have a member of one of the strictest.
Can I tell you something?
Wait. No, Greg.
I'm trying to reiterate. In the beginning, they were.
Wait, no. Let me finish the point. I gotta brand it right now. Okay, this is like the thing. And I'm sorry. Just give me I know I'm long-winded. Just one more minute. You can count down. So you have this doctor, okay, who's clear religious, or really truly religious person. Okay, very, very learned, a brilliant doctor, saved thousands of lives, and he figured out the solution to deal with Shmulevit. Okay, and you have an entire community of living witnesses, because they survived because of this. Okay. You can't create a better situation. So you would think that the religious Jews, at least the frum Jews, would be like, okay, hold on, they put it all together. Wait a minute. The Satmar are the most religious and the most, no one's going to say, there's going to be criticism of them. No one's going to say that they're the least religious, right?
Yeah.
Usually they'll say those, the most. But, So you have, in terms of street cred, when it comes to the Jewish world, they got a lot of street cred in that respect, okay? So you have an entire community full of witnesses who survived because of this religious Jewish doctor, who is also a Russian immigrant. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, so the religious world should have been like, okay, wow, clearly this is a clear message from God of what we should do. It couldn't be any clearer. It couldn't be any clearer if like some freaking angel / Tic Tac came with with one of those banners saying, "This is from God."
Yeah.
Message. Okay.
Yeah.
What did they do instead?
Yeah, they do what I just described. You know what? You know what they do? I'll tell you. I'll read to you what they do. I'll read to you what they do. The so-called from people who in the past years have behaved as if there are no Hashem, have treated their fellow Torah Jews as if lepers from biblical times, so-called rabbis who are so scholarly and charismatic and warm, all these are in quotes, ostracized congregants and banned them from entering buildings, following only their twisted logic, constantly shifting goalposts and junk science, fueled by their own neuroses, hypochondria, and media-induced psychosis, as well as politics, money, and need to fit in. That's what they do.
Yes. Okay, that's unfortunately what occurred.
And they said, Bracha Levatalas.
Yeah. Okay. And what? And so, Baruch Hashem, there are many people. I would say the majority of people in the religious Jewish world who had the right instinct, and they do support. They do support my brother, because they understand. You know, they have common sense. You don't need special vision just to kind of like look at the situation and analyze it with common sense. You don't need that. So many, thank God, I'm very grateful that more than half of religious Jews, thank God, they saw the example. But there's this gigantic section, and especially those in Israel, and from the, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to like
whatever
aim at anybody specifically, but I'm just saying that they went against them like hard. You know what I mean? Like they have these like creatures come out of the woodwork. It's scary. It's scary how many planted like. It's a lot like the Haskalah movement from the late 1700s. You know, they would plant religious-looking guys. You know, they'd come to a town and say, "Oh yeah, I'm the new Melamed. I'm going to teach Cheder. I'm going to teach your children Chumash and all the dates." And they were Haskalah agents, right? They were teaching the kids that to get away from the tradition and to become modern, and they were teaching them similar ideas to communism and things of that nature. So we have those type of beasts implanted all over the Jewish world. Okay, that's Erev Rav. Okay, that's like textbook Erev Rav. Okay,
yeah.
And so unfortunately, the religion, it's very clear to see who is, who's pushing people away from the Jewish angle. Who's pushing people away from having a dialogue with God? Who's pushing people away from using common sense?
Yeah.
Who's telling people shut your mind down and don't listen to your intuition?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same people. All of the above, everything you just mentioned, are the same people doing all these things.
But you know what's crazy? This is something that I noticed. Again, we spoke about this ad nauseum. There's something I noticed in the From community where, again, like, dude, there's a guy. I know a guy in this whole situation who, after the second shot, wrote to me publicly. I mean, rather posted and tagged me publicly on his Twitter that I was right. I don't know what I was right about because I wasn't talking about the science, because he's a science guy and I'm just a dumbass. As Joe Rogan calls himself a monkey. So this guy understood everything that was going on. And where the hell was I going with this? He told me that his rabbi said, when he consulted with his rabbi before the first shot, he goes, "Let's not be too smart." And then you know what he told me after I told him about the words of Shmurla? He goes, "Does it sound Mengele-ish to me? Yes, it does. Do I think there's anything to worry about? No, I don't." That was in March 2021. And then in May 2021, or June, he said he sent me a video of Dr. Shmalom about the cytotoxicity. And I was like, wow. And then he took the third shot because his work forced him to. So that was the end of that. I hope he got placebo. But such a guy who's way smarter than me. He's way smarter than me. I admit it. I'm in awe of... Dude, listen to me. I'm in awe of people who are actually smarter than me, but he's actually a very humble guy, this guy. He doesn't.
Can we talk about smartness for a minute?
No,
Can we
just
talk about
let
that?
me let me just finish the thought. But he said to me that his rabbi said, "Let's not be too smart." What the hell does that even mean? What does that mean?
That means like let's not pretend like we're experts.
Yeah, like we don't need to be experts. We just see what's in front of our face.
Right. So
I
that's,
don't need to be a doctor to
can I
know.
Yeah, but if you're under a spell, then you do need to. You don't need to know anything. You're under a spell.
But what makes these people under a spell? They're not like they are of the same lens as me. They're not like, you know what I'm saying? They're not like
if your business,
like there's a reason I'm friends with them. You know what I'm saying?
but here's what I'll say: if your business is to hypnotize, then over a good amount of time and research and Holocaust, you're gonna have a good amount of data.
No, but these guys are not easily hypnotized either. These guys are not easily hypnotized. If you knew who the rabbi that they learned from, he's like the anti-hypnosis rabbi, if anything.
Dude, they were waiting for a time when there are no rabbis who have any like Ruach HaKodesh.
It's crazy.
Okay, that's what they were waiting for.
Yeah.
Okay, they couldn't have done this even if they had the technology, even if they had the communication systems.
You're saying
and they had the ability,
we learned now that even Rabbi Pinto doesn't have Ruach HaKodesh. We thought he did, but he doesn't.
Okay, so they were waiting for a moment when there's an absolute vacuum of.
Yeah.
Guys, let's remember, a rabbi is, like, the traditional sense of the word, is not somebody who gets kitchen smicha. Okay? No, that's what they call it. Most rabbis, they become experts in Jewish law in terms of the kitchen. That's the main, that's the thing that people need to know most about, okay, in daily life. It's a lot, it's thousands of details. It's very, very specialized. And I didn't mean to make that sound, I'm not to denigrate it, not in the slightest. God forbid. I'm just saying that it's that rabbis were not people who just had kitchen smicha, even though kitchen smicha is a tremendous accomplishment. Okay, the rabbis were people who had Ruach HaKodesh. They had a connection, a real relationship with God, a real one, not a theoretical one, not some kind of philosophical one, okay? But a trusted relationship and dialogue with God, okay? They communicated with God. They used the traditions as to how to communicate with God through the prayers, through the kavanot, through the meditations, through the prophetic traditions. They used it. They didn't learn about it. They didn't theorize about it. They weren't like me and surfing.
Yeah.
I've been theorizing about going surfing for decades. When I was sitting in Brooklyn and I saw Point Break, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be a surfer.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I read about it, and I never went surfing.
And then Patrick
actually did go
Swayze
surfing.
and then Patrick Swayze tried to have a singing career, and then you changed your mind.
Well, I kind of lost touch with Patrick after Ghost. I just kind of.
He's probably one of the tzaddik of the goyim, in my opinion.
Well, we'll get to that. That's a very puzzling statement. I'm very curious to know what you mean by that, but not now.
No, he's just a very
Not
nice
now.
guy, and he gone too soon. That's all I have to say. It's very simple.
Well, yeah, no, it is very sad that that a guy like that, he, it's pretty, it's pretty
loves
awful.
us. Very
But he
nice.
played that. He was really good in that role.
Yeah.
In Point Break.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like he was so convincing. Like I felt like it's very possible I would have become one of the bank robbers. I would have joined that gang.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So basically, what the hell's the point? Why did I bring up? Oh yeah, theoretical. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, after I saw Point Break, I'm like, I'm gonna go surfing. So I've been surfing probably like 4 times in my life.
Yeah.
But the amount of time that I thought about it and wanted to do it is I should have been surfing every day. Okay. And then when I found out that people surf on Rockaway Beach, I got excited, but I don't know what. I never went around to surfing there. but I did serve another place. The point is like this. That's what most rabbis are like in terms of their relationship with God. Okay? They have a theoretical one. They learn about it. They learn about other rabbis who had a real one. Okay?
Right.
Who do the ascents to the higher world.
Yeah.
Okay? Who do the kavanot.
Like Rabbi Bags of us, remember?
Okay? Yes. Rabbi Kaduri. Okay? Maybe the last one.
No, Baba Sali.
Oh, yeah.
Kaduri, Baba Sali.
No, Kaduri.
The most recent, yeah.
We lost him more recently than Baba Saleh, right?
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay? So, and we know that we have at least 36 more out there who are the secret ones. We know that.
Yeah.
Okay? Because the world can't exist without them.
I think I may have met like one of them. I suspect.
You can't. You understand? You can't meet.
No,
one.
I suspect. I suspect.
Right. You know what happens, right?
He didn't tell me. And no one told me. I just suspected.
The moment one of them is figured out, he's immediately replaced by another secret.
You're
one.
saying even if I suspect him and Hashem knows that I suspect him and I may have even figured out him, but I never even told him to his face that he's a what's it called? Then Hashem replaced him
I don't know.
just from my
I'm not sure.
suspicion of him being that.
I'm not sure. Maybe if it gets into the public awareness,
yeah.
then.
So you're saying if Tzvi the clown figures out that this guy is at 36, he remains at 36.
Well, I'm not sure how many people have to know before he's replaced. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not about Tzvi being a clown. By the way, Tzvi's not such a clown. So it's weird to talk about Tzvi in the second person.
Am I a clown to you? Do I make you laugh? Am I funny? How am I funny? How? Funny how? Like a clown? Like he's like funny how? How am I funny? Eh? And then he stabs him with a pencil or pen. What a movie!
It's disgusting. But anyway, point is like this. That's who we have now. That who are called rabbis. Okay, a rabbi is more than a person who's an expert in a certain type of knowledge. You have people who let's compare. Let's talk about these smart scientists, these doctors that you're so impressed with. Right. Listen, there's not a nickel's worth of difference between.
Wait a minute. Can I pause you for a second? I just want to quote Eddie Murphy and just say I ain't impressed. That's all I'm gonna say.
I hope not.
I ain't impressed. I want him to take the wheel for a minute, man.
Look, you got nerds, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some nerds decide to go into science, hopefully, right? That's the good choice, okay? And they get really into it. They like it because it's an esoteric language, and it's something that they have a certain type of mind. They can remember facts and figures and things that they're interested in, and then they achieve status. Okay, some other nerds who have a similar type of mind, they get really into Star Trek and they learn how to speak Klingon. Okay,
yeah.
Some other type of nerds become like Disney people who they spend all their time learning facts about the Disney characters and decorating their bedrooms with Disney themes. My point is that this is a certain type of person we're talking about, okay?
Yeah.
Now, they have talents, they can remember facts and ideas, they can apply principles here and there, but there's a serious lack of common sense that exists in with this type of person.
I know. I've noticed that. There's like people who can do all these quadratic equations but can't open a bottle of soda properly. You know what I mean? I've noticed that.
Yeah. Yeah, because they live. If you want to,
they live in a world of ideas, but these ideas are not applicable. Some of these ideas are usually not applicable to.
They're more Yetziratic. They're beings of Yetzirah. They're more like Zeranpin rather than Nukva.
Yeah.
You ever heard this? You ever heard the reason why Yehuda was the right guy to be the descendant of to be the ancestor of Mashiach?
Why? Because
Yehuda. Why is Yehuda compared to Malchut? Right? Because, well, here's a good example. When they decided that Yosef was going to be another Esav, and that Yaakov was blind to Yosef, just like Yitzchak was blind to Esav, right? So they felt that they had to save the world. They had to do it. Okay, so what happened? In the end, they said, who was it that said it was Yehuda who said, "What do we profit from killing from the blood of our brother?" Right? No. Let us sell him. Okay, so now both Yehuda and Ruvain. Okay, Ruvain is one of these guys who's up in the air. He was barely human. He was almost an angelic entity. He was not very well versed in the ways of the world. He was like, it's hard to explain when you learn a little bit about who Ruvain was. Mm-hmm. He wanted to save Yosef. There are two people who had it in their mind to save Yosef's life. The first was Ruvain, and then the second was Yehuda. Okay? Now Ruvain's idea was, let's throw him in the pit. Remember, because they could decide how to kill him. His thinking was, so when they throw him in the pit, they're going to go and then they're going to attend to some business. I don't recall what. And then he was going to sneak back and get Yosef out of the pit. Okay? But he couldn't appreciate the reality of being in a pit with snakes and with insects. Okay? And there's no water there. Okay? For a period of time. Like, a person can't really survive in those circumstances under normal circumstances. Okay? So Ruvain, his idea was immature. It wasn't in tune with reality. Okay? Yehuda realized that and says, no, it's not gonna fly. He's gonna die. Why don't we let's do this. He's our brother. Let's not kill our brother. Okay? But we can't have this guy, messing up the situation. Okay? We can't have another Esav. We can't. Okay, we have enough to deal with the. We can't have two Esavs at the same time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they're like, let's get this guy out of here. Okay, but whatever, he's our brother.
Yeah.
So that was Yehuda. I don't know. I'm not sure if Yehuda bought that whole idea or he was just selling that idea to his brothers who were really adamant. Okay. I'm not sure how much of that Yehuda agreed with. I'm sure some of it, because Yosef's attitude, honestly, his behavior was atrocious.
Yeah.
It's like, it's easier for us to judge these guys from our perspective, but if we were around then, we'd be like, what's up with Yosef?
Yeah.
This guy's a jerk, right? Why is he constantly ratting his brothers out? And he's just constantly saying bad reports about them without even investigating what was going on.
Yeah.
Okay? So, whatever. I'm not saying stuff about Yosef and whatever. I'm just saying that it didn't look good.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, so Yehuda was the one who actually came up with a realistic plan. Mm-hmm. One that's in touch with reality. One that he's aware of what a person deals with in daily physical life. Ruvain was up somewhere in Atzilus all the time. Okay? Yeah. And he didn't really, to him, being in a pit or being, on a cloud is the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And it's possible that for Yosef too. But you can't have that attitude. You can have that attitude about yourself, but not when it comes to other people. You have to look at them as a person. You have to think about their needs as if they were a living, breathing, vulnerable, perishable item.
Yeah.
Not an item, but like something that's vulnerable.
A statistic.
Okay? Right. So that's what a king. That is the characteristic of a true king. That's the kind of king that you need. A king who understands that. For instance, the babushka who has to walk up, with a cane 2 stories up. He has to think about how to better that situation. Yeah. The guy who is deep. The farmer's hands, right, are constantly covered in cuts and scabs. And so he has to figure out a way to make that easier somehow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a king. The Yehuda had that quality. That's malchut.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know how we got on this.
How do we get it? No, we got on this because we were talking about.
Oh, no, okay. So Ben, so that's what this whole spiel was really for you as a recommendation as to how to approach the people you're going to be speaking to, because just start out with a couple of facts. Here's like fact. First big outbreak was in this Satmar community. Fact, they had a religious Jewish, very learned doctor, both in science and medicine and in Torah, Hasidut, and Kabbalah. Okay, a person in good standing. Okay, he saved that entire community. Okay, smart Russian Jewish doctor with common sense, with Torah knowledge. Okay, and you have thousands of living witnesses to testify to the fact that it worked. So that same doctor, using the same instinct, okay, the same common sense, the same intelligence, is now saying this. Okay? They didn't listen to him the first time. Let's perhaps listen to what he's saying now. Okay, you can warm them up that way.
Yeah.
Okay? Now obviously, because I'm his brother, you're gonna say I have bias. Okay, but the facts are undeniable.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't, so do with it as you will.
Yeah.
So because I'm jumping back into, you're saying to hit them with some facts.
It was a Russian Jewish guy like you guys, like you, a religious Russian Jewish guy who was intelligent.
Can I say something? Well, you know what I noticed during this whole process of the last 2 years? I noticed, and I noticed it's a confirmation of something that I saw in general with the Russian Jewish community. When one of us does well, there's a lot of people who like to praise that guy, but there's also a lot of people who, like Russians, like to bash each other. I don't know why. They like to call each other quacks. They like to call each other, like негодяй and like a charlatan.
No different than anybody else, unfortunately.
What?
No different than any.
I know, but Russians are really horrible to each other.
I think any group you ask, they'll say exactly the
No,
same
dude,
thing.
it's almost like but it's almost like I talked to a lot of Russians. Usually, it's Russians who are not frum, but also frums. It's like they're ashamed of this guy. They're like, oh, я знаю Zelenko. Oh, да, клоун этот.
Look, there's a lot of look. We have to just say something, okay? Outright, and this isn't Russian horror. This is just a fact of the world. There's a lot of very mediocre intellects.
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
I know.
that you deal with anywhere that you go. You're going to speak to a lot of people with mediocre.
Some of these people have PhDs, by the way, which is crazy.
That's like we just talked about that.
Yeah.
They don't have. You know what I mean? Like I know a guy who can, like, look at Rain Man.
Yeah.
Remember the movie?
Yeah.
You have people who, obviously that's hyperbolic.
Yeah.
But you have different levels of idiot savants.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that a person has a well-rounded intellect. Okay, we're not talking about a liberal arts education here. We're talking about the ability to think critically.
Yeah.
Okay? The person, a lot of people don't have malchut, like we just talked about, like Yehuda. Okay? They don't have the common sense as to how, like, think about a situation where people of all walks of life, they get into, let's say, some kind of weird dystopian doomsday situation where lights go out, right? And industry seizes and people have to start from scratch.
Yeah.
The people who take lead in that situation are the people who can think critically. They can focus on what's important. They can recognize what's the best thing for survival in any situation, and they can delegate responsibility to people who have talents in certain. They know how to. They know how to be a good manager. Like these guys, they know how to start up a car. Okay, they don't have a lot of common sense, but they certainly know how to get a car working.
Yeah.
Those guys over there, they know how to grow this. These people, they know how to wash clothing. That's very important because you don't want to start getting dirty and start getting bacteria and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So the people who can manage the resources around them. That's what I mean. A well-rounded intellect.
Yeah.
Common sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Some of these PhDs, they wouldn't last like a day in the forest, or some situation that they're not absolutely taken care of from head to toe.
Yeah, if supply chain goes down, they're screwed.
Okay, that's not anybody who doesn't last a day in that kind of situation is not intelligent. Can we create a baseline definition for what intelligence is?
Yeah. Sure. We can. We have.
Let it be.
Speaking words of wisdom. Let it be.
Frank, could you just jump back real quick because I was like half in there with concentration and not when you start with the facts. So I was saying first there was a big outbreak from COVID in the Satmar community, and then Russian Jewish doctor meeting your brother started talking about taking alternative treatment, and they was just being blackballed. Is that what you're saying?
I was saying that like somebody who comes from your background, smart, religious, Russian, Jewish guy, he found the solution with God's help, and he saved. He was the first one faced with the situation. He found the solution. It worked. It continues to work. Okay. Instead of listening to him, people made the wrong choice. Okay, and they listened to people instead of a religious Jewish doctor who actually found the solution. They decided to start listening to people who look at them like they're monkeys. Let's not listen to the religious Jewish doctor that we can trust who saved an entire town of Satmar. Let's listen to the people who didn't save anybody and who think we're monkeys. Great idea. Okay? And so, and the pattern continues, all right? So this Russian Jewish doctor, okay, he keeps warning people about danger, okay, about schmaxines, okay? And again, they didn't listen to him. Now people are dying. Now you have, in Israel, you have a Hevra Kadisha that can't keep up with they can't bury enough people a day. You're having 5 times the amount of stillbirths. No, but still, no people continue not to listen, right? Let's continue to listen to the people who have not done a thing to save a single life and who think we're monkeys.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm saying monkeys, because that's exactly what they think. They look at. Well, first of all, they think everybody comes from monkeys, right?
Yeah. Well, they think that we are compared to them, like brain.
Not only that, like we're more simian.
It's called the unwashed masses. That's what they called it in Rome.
Right. When you look at a religious person, okay, and that would probably be any type of religious person. You look at someone who's not sophisticated, a foolish, simple-minded person who can't look at reality in the face. They can't assimilate the cold harshness of reality, that there's nothing before and there's nothing after. We live a short period of time, or we die forever. And if you don't use the time, to drink, to smoke, to to do this, to do that, right? Then you're not living your life. You are a person who is stunted in your mind. You're scared, so you create up fairy tales to make your day happy, so you can get through your day. And then on top of that, you're also less intelligent than me. And on top of that, we're all monkeys anyway.
Yeah.
That's who they're listening to.
We're sentient, highly sentient monkeys. That's what we are.
Yeah, it's highly sentient. I don't think they're very sentient. Okay? So that's who they're listening to. You have to just try to make people see. Who are you listening to? What do they believe? What have they produced?
Yeah.
Nothing.
I know that Mouse.
What has the religious Jewish doctor, the Russian religious Jewish doctor with a beard? What came from him?
Yeah.
Consistent life-saving protocol.
What I noticed if you read Dr. Mousey's Wikipedia, he actually is a self-professed secular humanist, whatever the hell that means, and he finds a lot of right. He finds a lot of troubling things. Well, what's so funny?
That's hilarious, man.
It is hilarious, right? Humanist.
That is
humanist.
Man, that guy.
Yeah, and he won the secular humanist. There's like an award that they give out. You know, like I think Christopher Hitchens won one of them. But Hitchens would be aghast if he was alive today. Zecher Tzaddik Zichrono Levrocha. I never thought I'd say that about an atheist. Hitchens would be aghast. Here's a person who changed his. I don't know if you know anything about Hitchens. He will go down as one of the biggest atheists on earth. However, here's a person who changed his views, political views, when he saw facts in front of his face, when he saw reality, and he would be aghast if he was alive today. He would be aghast. He was probably the most God-believing atheist I ever saw. And he would punch. If I was alive, I'd punch Fauci in the face.
If I saw him walking down the street,
Fauci's like Miss Johnson. If Christopher Hitchens was alive, he punched Anthony Fauci in the face. That's what he did. I'm telling you. I know that dude.
all right. That's your boy, Hitchens. All right, he could roll.
Yeah.
But that's your boy.
Listen, you know what my theory, not a theory, it's probably true. Hitchens, when he died, he learned the MS. So now he just feels like a schmuck. So it's fine.
He doesn't feel like a schmuck. Okay?
He doesn't feel like a schmuck. He just learned the MS and that's it. And he, that's it.
Yeah, man. Listen, again, I'm always going to go back to blaming God for everything.
For making Hitchens an atheist.
You know what I mean? Like, why is Hitchens has a point, okay?
He does have a point. Hitchens learned that he's Jewish when he was 40. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Like, discovering that you're Jewish at age 40. Be like, oh my God. It's not even like Rabbi Akiva, learning how to read at age 40. Like, he discovered that he's Jewish at age 40. It's, scary. It's, shocking. So, you live in a country where, Jews are not liked, and his father was a Anglican, or Presbyterian, whatever, basically part of a thing that doesn't like Jews very much. And his mother just, said to, keep it quiet. That she was told by her mother, his grandmother, to keep her thing quiet. And then she told him when he was 40.
Yes, we come from a long tradition of let's keep it quiet.
And he's just and him and his brother, Peter, Oh, you're Jewish, by the way, you're Jewish. Thank you. Yeah. No wonder he was such a communist for a very long time. Until...
Look, here's what atheists are saying, okay? You want to know what atheists are saying unconsciously?
Yeah.
God, how could you do this?
Yes. No, that's what he... Dude, Christopher Hitchens was debating. I saw him in a live debate. He said, what kind of a God would ask his, favorite whatever to sacrifice his own child? What kind... Even if he's not going to do it, why would you even put a person through such a episode? Psychotic... It's a psychosis... Psychotic episode. Why would you even have him go through that?
Okay. So here's let me parse this out a little bit, okay? On the one hand, he has a point. On the other hand, he doesn't.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how. Because if you're talking about a regular person, if you're talking about, freaking, I don't know, Jora from Brighton, okay? He doesn't have the academic chops or the ability to research or access to large databases, or even he doesn't know what a database is. Okay? And he has that question. He heard this idea that God said, sacrifice your son. So that guy, if he thinks, what kind of God does that? That is a legitimate, fair question of a normal person. Okay? In fact, that's the question you'd want a normal person to have. Okay? Now, a person like Hitchens, on the one hand, he's right. On the other hand, F him. You know why? Because he could have researched it. He goes, let's see. We have Jews who are supposed to be smart people, right? Maybe not this generation, but at least previous generations.
Well, this
right?
question was asked in 2007, 2008.
No, okay. So we have, they've been dealing with this question for 3,700 years. Yeah. Let's see what some of them have to say about it. He never did that.
Well, no, even if he would have, he would say it's all interpretations. It's all music.
The point is, if he has that question, then he should have investigated. If that question was really important to him, then he would have found every last statement of
and it's
Hazal.
probably the most common and famous question ever on that parsha, on that the whole episode.
Yeah, ask a question, don't seek the answer.
Yeah, it's like he's just asking.
So on the one hand, a person who doesn't have the access to information that Hitchens does, asking that question is a legitimate question.
It's like he's just being.
The question is legitimate.
He's just being a dick.
But he's being a dick. Okay, so I don't want to give him too much credit.
Well, now he knows all of it, not just that question.
He knows all of it, but at the same time, I don't think that he's suffering because
No, because it's not his fault. Because
this is hell. This world is hell.
Yeah, and not only it's not even the fact this world. It's not his fault. Hashem did not, for what reasons we don't know. Hashem did not give him the window opening into, first of all, that he's even Jewish, and when he found out he's Jewish, Hashem did not illuminate his whatever. He just did, it wasn't in his purview, So
For a guy like Hitchens, what could be his tshuva? His tshuva might be for just the slightest second in his life, just the thought, perhaps I'm not 1,000% correct about everything that I've said about every point.
No, you know what his tshuva was when he wrote in his book God is Not Great that basically Judaism is the least stupid of all the things. That was his tshuva. Everything is stupid.
So
Judaism is the least stupid.
Right. So that is teshuva for a guy like that.
Yeah, and now he knows more than any of us know at the moment, and he probably knows about the same as Ari does. So, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's whatever.
So, Ben, you could re-listen to this. You don't need notes.
Yeah, I'm gonna send this to you.
Yeah, no, I'm limited on time. I have a full day tomorrow, so I just wanted to get some ideas. But for the most part, I think it'll be majority of last time. But you also have to hit home a little stronger because
I think we will.
You got some Russian bears in the house.
I think what's gonna happen is we're gonna again. It's gonna be like rough drawer, like we did last time. We feel out the crowd, and we feel out what's palatable, what's gonna be palatable, it's like a little baby. It's like what you could see. What is a baby ready to eat? Is it going to eat Gerber? Is it going to eat Kolbaska? Is it ready to digest something a little tyor de yada, hard food, or you have to give it, applesauce?
My initial gut feeling is even though we're gonna want to push it forward.
I think most people are a captive audience already. From the ones I know that I invited, it's already a very captive audience.
So when I say push it forward, I'm saying like can only it's like stretch these sensitivities so far, right? It's
No,
like
meaning at this point it will be more of just mahazik and from giving people. Again, most of the people there are going to be people who are just kind of like they feel alone. They already know even more so than your Israeli friends that something is they already have more information actually, if anything.
probably
No, I know for sure. Like some of them, I know for
than
sure.
the Israeli people.
Yeah, like
Oh,
Stan,
for sure.
like a few of the people, I'm not saying names, whatever. For sure, these people know. They get more info, and they're more tapped in, and so now we're just giving them Mehasik. That's it.
Good. With the idea that keep growing. Okay, listen.
Dude, like what again? Like our people, our side. I don't want to say side because it's like divisive, but people of our mindset are not an organized phalanx.
Oh,
Those MFers are an organized Roman legion.
good to know.
You know.
Okay, that gives me the confidence.
And by us, we are just a scattered like guerrilla. We're not even guerrilla warfare because if you in guerrilla warfare,
You think the play is good? Yeah. Okay. Because guys like my dad would be like, it's a little childish, but I don't care that it's childish.
Anything interactive is good. People,
All right, good.
they want like. Do you remember the thing when I got popped out with the whole like bracha? I said bracha.
That was great.
It's just like funny stuff. Yeah, you keep it light. You keep it, whatever.
Chaim. Chaim. I like it.
What do you think, Mr. Frank?
I really am struggling to understand what the hell you guys have been talking about for the last 2 minutes.
We were saying that we were basically saying that the people that we invited are already people that are like in Telegram groups, and they basically have the same information as us. It's just that the people who are like not woke, people who are awake, are scattered. We're not an organized.
So this conference is about creating some kind of unified structure.
Yeah, that's at least for me. That's how I see it. I mean, it's just knowing that at least half, if not 75% of the people, are like
Of similar mindset.
yeah, what I call telegrammers. So
They're just recognize that there's a serious issue, and they don't know how to organize their thoughts of fear.
yeah, enunciate or whatever it is, and it's just that's what we're doing. We're here to coagulate, if that makes any sense.
Okay, I didn't really hop that at first.
Yeah, no,
I
that's
was giving,
exactly
like-
what. Yeah, that's exactly what
I would not. Basically, like most of my comments were about like talking to people who somewhat skeptical, are not familiar with.
I think that out of the, let's say if there's going to be 20 or 25 people there, I think maybe like 2 or 3 are going to be like maybe skeptical, but not really. Like I think some of them are even like vaccinated, but I think if they are,
It'll be at least 25% vaccinated.
they probably took it for a job. Like they didn't take it because they wanted to, they didn't take it because they believe in it. I'm telling you, the Russians that we know see the bullshit. And if they don't see the bullshit, then it's like usually my mom's parents' friends.
But I'm gonna hit home and make a point there. The older generation, the younger generation don't see
No, it's
it.
not. Yeah, their kids
They do
do not
not
see
see
it.
it.
Their kids are so Americanized and like into the media.
They do not see it at all.
They think
it's normal.
They think their parents are idiots, and they like are trying to brainwash their parents.
That's very true. And sad.
Like some of them are like the younger like there's a doctor, and she just to the point she brainwashed her parents to the point where her parents don't leave the house. She's wackadoodle for parents. It's crazy. But,
it's a lot like Soviet Russia. It's very similar. Like
Yeah.
you know,
Of course.
they basically like the young adult children basically bullied their parents. Or they would like Pavlik Morozov, right?
Yeah. But I'm saying in Soviet Russia it was more like the young generation was like, well, at least my parents were like, convincing them that America was better.
No, I'm talking about like during revolution.
Oh, back in the day, yeah, of course. They were weaponized, yeah, for sure. They were weaponized. They were turned against their parents.
Yeah, let's
Or-
use the idiot.
Or in this case, it was like not against their parents, but now they're trying to keep their parents like quote unquote safe. So they scare the daylights out of them.
Yeah.
It's fun.
All right. So, are we going to talk about war? Are we going to talk about the '80s, or should we call it?
What do you think? I want to know what you think. I mean, I have my own theories about Putin and Ukraine, but what do you think is the end game for this?
I don't know. Sometimes I have instincts about things, and I can't shut my big mouth about them. But I'm just quiet when it comes to this whole situation. I don't know. I
I thought you were going to say you're quiet because you're like me and you wish them both a bracha for success for what they did to us over the years.
Well, no, I mean, yeah. I have all those feelings too. But what I'm saying is, no, I can't say that I have those feelings because, like, let's say, getting revenge on this generation of Germans is not very satisfying.
It's interesting you say that because the son of the lawyer, Nazi lawyer Frank says, I don't trust my people for 1 second, and just wait till the economy goes south and you're going to see the old Germans come back. And also you see that guy, one of their doctors, their main doctors, who keeps saying we have to make everything compulsory. So it's funny you say that, but at the same time, and then you look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Austrian. We know another Austrian.
Yeah, but okay, so we can't just say Austrians. Because look at how about Israelis?
Screw your freedom. Well, Israelis just that's an Emunah issue. That's a spiritual issue at this point.
Nah, dude, it's not. These aren't the same. I don't think they're the same Germans. If they are, then they are. But the point is that
I don't think they're the same. I think a lot of Germans are resisting this stuff. A lot of Germans, to their credit, are going.
It's not satisfying. Like I want to kill their granddaddies. I'm not.
No.
It's not the same.
Yeah.
I hope their granddaddies are resurrected so that I can kill them. Hopefully several times.
It's crazy.
I don't know how true that is. I think I'll probably be too busy, living eternal whatever.
I was gonna say you're probably busy basking in the glow of Tchias Mason.
Whatever that is.
Yeah.
No. The Tchias Mason means resurrection of the dead.
I know.
But once that occurs,
Yeah.
then there's a midrashic statement saying basking in the glow of God's light.
Yes.
Whatever that is, obviously that's what we're
Yes.
working towards.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So I think you gentlemen could continue. Maybe you should continue. I have to. I'm crashing.
Fantastic. Do your thing. This was very productive and probably entertaining for the people who will be listening.
For the folks at home,
Yeah.
dude? Even though you completely zoned out and didn't participate in my presentation, but the parts that you did listen to for a second and a half, were they good? What do you think?
I think they were good. I did listen. And
Remember, I don't really have feelings anymore. My last feelings were destroyed many years ago before we even began speaking. So, but what I do need to know is, I need information. So I need to know if something.
You read the feedback of your Aleph episode from the person who just found out that he's Jewish. He said that this is perfect Motzei Shabbat viewing material. And you even sent me the screenshots.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay,
And he not only wrote that, there was a whole litany of things that he wrote, positive feedback.
Okay, so we know that guy loves me, but what about Greg?
Dude, I think you can't say something. I mean, not that it matters to you, or probably matters in general. I think you're probably a Rav without smicha, and that I would say you should get smicha. I don't know if you need smicha, but I would say that you know a lot.
Let's say I know a lot about the things that I'm interested in because I have ADD, but I also know way not enough about very important things that I should know about that I don't have an interest in. And also, a Rav doesn't screw up with porn every now and then.
Dude, can I?
I'm not a Rav.
Dude, can I? No. Can I? No.
No. We talked about what a real Rav is.
Yes,
We talked
they
about
do. That's first of all. Second of all.
No. Dude, listen very carefully to me.
Put the porn thing
they
aside
don't.
for a second. Michael Jordan. Okay, can I tell you something? Michael Jordan. If you remove the years that he played, 1984 until 1992, after 1992 or I would say 1993, you know how this person made his career? He basically cornered, and Mr. Ben over here would back me up on this, even though he's probably too young to watch him. He cornered the market on one move.
Who's that?
Jordan. He realized he's getting older and he can't jump through the roof of the building anymore.
Fadeaway?
He just did it over and over and over again to the point where somebody guarding him knew it's coming and the guy can't stop it. And then there's another guy came along in the league who was younger than him and realized, you know what, I better corner the market while I'm still young on this move and I can still jump, but on top of that, I'll be 22 with that move that I copied from that guy who got old, did the move, and he did it so freaking good. One thing, like, remember City Slickers? One thing. Curly. One thing.
Yeah. I was just thinking about them the other day.
Dude, you do that one thing good, nothing else matters. Nobody cares about your shmabala, chabala. You do the one thing good, or you do your, whatever it is, the things, you multiple things, you do good, that's it. Dude,
okay,
Rabbi Kessin, whatever he does, he doesn't know everything. He does whatever he does, no good. Rabbi Nava, whatever he does, no good. Does good.
Dude, we gotta. By the way, just on the side point,
Yeah.
I think we. Do you think Rabbi Kessin? No, you know what? You should do a rogue with Rabbi Kessin, and interview, and I'll prepare some questions which I would like to know, but I think everybody would know too.
Fine.
Okay, and also, did you get a chance to talk about Rabbi Weisberg?
Oh no! Thank you for reminding me. I'm gonna remind my contact about that.
Yeah. Okay. So we can't bring him anywhere near, Greg and Frank, but Greg alone. That's a more that's a more sterile environment, right?
I guess.
So yeah. So basically, just guys, a reality check is always a good thing. Here's what a Rav is. For instance, the shliach in New Orleans, Rabbi Rifkin, right? A Rav is a person who is so busy with communal affairs, okay? Literally, never has a moment. Literally, he's always doing. Here's another thing, okay? He's always doing something for the community. He's always learning. And here's the other thing. Let's say it's some kind of doomsday situation, right? And remember we were talking about how, We're talking about people like who knows how to like start a fire, who knows how to survive. How about how to survive as a religious Jew, right? In terms of like things that need to be done. Like who knows how to tie a pair of tefillin?
Yeah.
Who knows how to write a mezuzah? Who
dude,
knows how to teach Hebrew?
I'm
Who knows how to lane?
I'm
Right?
freaking
Who knows
clue-
the rituals?
I'm freaking
That's a
clueless.
rub.
I'm clueless.
That's a rub.
Yeah.
Who knows how to slaughter a chicken properly? That's a rub. A guy who has an interest in certain things because he has ADD and he ignores the stuff that he doesn't have an interest in is not a rub. I don't know what that calls him, but whatever
Listen,
that is,
man,
you can call
listen,
me
man.
this.
The word rabbi just means teacher. What you're talking about is
No,
already
it doesn't.
a person.
Muhammad
It
means
does.
teacher.
Listen, it just means what you're describing is already a person. These are specialties. Some people are shoychets. Some people are what is it called? Sofer
No, but
stam.
that's rub
Yes.
stuff. That's what a rub is.
I
No?
hear what you're saying. I'm just saying, like we're not in that. We're in a generation where people now. It used to be that there would be a guy in the town who actually could do all the things that you are describing. He could do them all, or do most of them. We live in a generation that we have. Dude, you notice we go to a sofer stam for the over here. A sofer, very few people can be. There are sofer stam and also shoychet. You go to shoychet over there. You go to this guy over that. You go to this over here. We're a low generation. We have guys, division of labor at this point. We don't have dudes who are just like the shtetl dude for jack of all trades.
Yeah, but you know what's funny?
Yeah.
Like in religious like Jewish neighborhoods, big ones like New York and stuff. Yeah, you're right, Miami. But you take Chabad Shliach is a good example, or
Yeah, you could do
some
it.
other
You could do
rabbi
a lot.
who's out there, in a sparsely populated, not a
Yeah.
Jewish center, let's say,
Yeah.
right? That guy knows it all. He does it
For
all.
sure. Listen, they're gonna send that guy to South Dakota.
Yeah.
So.
So you have these guys out there. That's what a rub is. That's what So
On that note, one thing, Billy Crystal. One thing.
once.
My mother hung me on a hook once. Don't hate me.
Once.
All right, sir.
Dude, what's that? Before you go,
Yeah.
does anybody remember? Okay, Greg. I
Yeah.
think Ben is a little too young, but
Yeah.
Greg, do you remember a movie with Eric Stoltz and Leah Thompson and
What was it called?
I don't know. I feel like some kind of Wonderful. I think it's some kind, but it's where Eric Stoltz is in love with Leah Thompson, but he has a friend who is another one of these three named actresses or actors. Like Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, or Jennifer Jason Lee, or
Yes.
well, she's one of the three names.
yes. Some kind of movie.
I'm
Yes.
ripping off Gilbert Gottfried.
Eric Stoltz, yes. Amanda Jones, Leah Thompson, and
Yes.
Mary Stuart Masterson.
Mary Stuart Masterson. Okay. So
1987.
Mary Stuart Masterson is like his best friend. She's like a tomboy. She knows how to fix cars. And, that whole thing. And he, and she's pretty, but he's in love with the pretty girl from school.
Yes.
And he doesn't know what he has right underneath his nose.
Yeah.
That whole movie, I was just thinking as a massive mushel for something that we got to talk about in the future.
All right. Fantastique.
And we also have to do part 2 of analysis of Cradle of Love by Billy Idol.
Yeah, we will.
The people want to know, Greg. The people want to know.
I'm sure.
Give the people what they want.
Thank you, Caesar. Thank you. All right. We shall be running along now. And we're going to talk about Eve.
Gentlemen, have a good night.
Have a good
Laila
night, Frank. Thank you for your time.
Tov. Laila Tov.
Thanks for listening to my rants and raves.
It's okay.
Fantastic.
Peace.
Later.